Well, good day! So for today's Christmas video, I would like to talk about a group that couldn't possibly be the more epitome of Christmas. That's right, I'm talking about G.I. Joe! Well, okay, they might not be the most Christmassy people ever, you know, but they still do good. So let's go and see what kind of Christmas gifts they get from Cobra this year. Alright, let's go!
Okay, so we start off with Shipwreck, Dusty, and CoverGirl collecting toys so they can eventually deliver them to Children's Hospital in time for Christmas, which is absolutely wonderful, but they immediately get attacked by Cobra. Like, what? Come on, Cobra, man, it's Christmas and they're collecting toys for kids. Like, cut them some slack for one day, man, jeez. During the battle, the Joe's path has been kind of blown up a bit, so they got no choice but to stop. And conveniently, Firefly comes out of a secret compartment in a mountain and he puts some toys of his own into the Joe's trailer. Which, yeah, I guess that's pretty sweet of him. But the Joes, who are on high alert at this moment, didn't see anyone walking out of a mountain and like walk right up to their vehicle to dump stuff in it? I suppose. But having those toys tossed in there was the whole point of Cobra's mission, man. So once that's complete, boom, they take off. Gone. So the Joes go back to base and unload the toys there. Most of the Joes have left the base for the holidays and stuff like that, so it's a bit of a skeleton crew running the headquarters there. So Duke sets up the automatic defense grid while Roadblock makes like a freaking fantastic turkey meal. But Mutt is having none of it, man. He really has the holiday blues like pretty bad. So instead of eating this tasty bird, he and Junkyard go for a walk around the base, and man, it's like perfect timing because he sees these like miniature Cobra agents and vehicles popping out of all the toys that Firefly planted, and they start attacking the full-size G.I. Joes. They do eventually get back to normal size with the reducer and larger gun, and after a short battle with the Joes, Cobra Commander, Destro, and Baroness win the battle pretty easy, capture the Joes, and are now in charge of G.I. Joe's HQ. And that's not even the worst of it. Cobra's overall plan is to attack Keystone City, using G.I. Joe's vehicles and weapons so the people would believe that the Joes have turned heel and are fighting against the country's best interests. Worse yet, they even had Zartan fake a message of Duke declaring their intentions to take over the city and enforce their martial law.
Meanwhile,
the remaining G.I. Joes were tossed into a meat locker for a prison, but thanks to Shipwreck humping a freaking piece of meat, and I'm not even kidding, man. Like, look at him go. Oh, that's like my favorite. But in doing that, he's able to break free, and he escapes, freeing the rest of the Joes. So they go back into the base and beat the crap out of Destro, but that was after Destro did some damage with the reducer and larger gun, mainly on Shipwreck's bird, Polly. At this time, Cobra's already going down to Keystone City, so the Joes have no choice but to take Cobra's weapons and pursue. Cobra does indeed make it to the city. They start attacking, and the citizens are pissed.
what's up with G.I. Joe, man?
They say Cobra's plan is working, but not quite, because the Joes show up and start blowing up their own equipment with Cobra's equipment, you know, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's like, yeah, man, we're beating Cobra, which is awesome, but at the same time, we're destroying our own beloved weapons. Bit of a bittersweet pill for the crew. Duke was trapped in the Sky Striker with Cobra Commander, and they have a bit of a tussle, so Cobra Commander hits the ejection seat, and Duke is falling out of the plane to his doom. Game over, right?
Wrong.
A very large Polly flies in and saves the day as Cobra tucks their tails and takes off again, leaving the Joes in Keystone City with whichever repercussions they will be getting from the citizens there. But hey, not all is lost, because blowing things up really good like really helped Mutt actually find joy on Christmas. So he's over his Christmas blues. You take the wins wherever you can get them. But yeah, so with that, that is the end of this merry tale.
Right? Yeah, so not really so much of a Christmas episode, more of a regular G.I. Joe episode that just kind of revolves around Christmas, right? But it is more Christmassy than just a couple of little kind of Christmas references in there. Whereas, yes, it's not a Christmas-centric episode, but everything Cobra does to attack the base is because of Christmas. They really couldn't attack G.I. Joe headquarters like this during any other holiday, not even Arbor Day, if you could believe it. Like, Cobra knew that this was the best time to attack G.I. Joe headquarters because most of the base is going to be deserted because most of the personnel are going to be gone for the holidays. They even used toys as a means to infiltrate G.I. Joe headquarters, and they knew that G.I. Joe would kind of have their guard down a bit because, you know, it's the holidays and they're going to go and have a nice supper, relax, you know, chill out. So that part of Cobra's plan was very much based on Christmas and what happens in Christmas with the G.I. Joes and all that kind of stuff. You know, like their reconnaissance was pretty good there. The second part of Cobra's plan of attacking Keystone City is kind of based in Christmas a bit too. Maybe not quite as the other ones. Like, it's a festive time of year, everyone's getting into the spirit, getting into the season, you know, and then they get attacked. The people of Keystone City are in their highest spirits and, you know, are feeling the most joyous at the time, right? So for them getting attacked at this time, they're the most kind of emotionally vulnerable, so the attack would be even worse, right? So in those regards, it is very much a Christmas-specific episode, even though it is so hardcore regular G.I. Joe episode. The only thing that seems really silly is the reducer enlarge array, and it's like, wow, you know, if they didn't have that, none of the plan really could have happened. It might seem like a really silly weapon to have, you know, but like in the universe of G.I. Joe, technology like that is pretty common, or even things that are even more weird, you know? And it even does touch on a topic that not a lot of people talk about at Christmas, is the Christmas blues, kind of like Mutt had in this episode. Sometimes as a kid, man, things go wrong at Christmas and that sticks with you for the rest of your life, so you get really depressed around Christmas time when everyone else is feeling more joyful. So to even address that in a cartoon, you know, it's actually pretty good because it shows really a different side of what happens to people around this time of year. So even though G.I. Joe is fictitious, there are a lot of things that happened in this series that do mirror real life. I guess like having a badass military force is one thing. But also in this episode, when G.I. Joe is collecting toys for sick kids at the hospital, that is something that does mirror real life. The U.S. Marines Reserves did start a program called Toys for Tots, where they would collect toys and deliver toys to kids in need. You know, like similar things, kids in hospitals or families who can't afford toys, you know, for their kids at Christmas. So for G.I. Joe to mimic something like that in their series is actually really awesome, because that is a really cool thing to see, man. People helping each other out in this time of joy and festivities and all that stuff, right? Pretty good. I really do like the name of the episode, Cobra Claus Are Coming to Town, which is obviously a parody of the Christmas song Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And Cobra Claus, in case you didn't know, is referring to the claw, as in C.L.A.W., which is an acronym for Covert Light Aerial Weapon, which were featured in this episode and which were maybe featured in your Christmas morning when you opened up your presents to get some G.I. Joe toys when you were younger, right? So it all works out. But yeah, that's, you know what, that's actually pretty much all I got. You know, there's Christmas, there's G.I. Joe, there's more G.I. Joe than there is Christmas, but it's all Christmas. And yeah, so with this, that, those, and the other things, I guess that's that.
Right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video. And if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, you know, feel free to do so. Or anything else, you know, just to say hi. That's cool too. And other than that, you know, have a great day. Thanks.